I've got change for us all. Isn't it? Restart.
Big move in Bitcoin then, in contrast to all the notes I wrote pre-show, which were telling me that this was going to put Bitcoin under pressure.
The narrative that perhaps this launch of these political meme coins will sap flows from Bitcoin is showing us that it's really not the case this morning. If anything, it's just accelerated the momentum and the excitement around cryptocurrency under another Trump administration.
Hi, Dewald. What is all this FOMO about? Should I buy Bitcoin now?
Are you smoking your socks? You should rather watch my show. You should rather watch my show.
All right, legends, welcome to another live stream. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in. Let's do some technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. I mean, you know, the trend is your friend until the very end. And for now, the trend is still up, respecting this trend beautifully still here to the upside. And now it looks like Bitcoin wants to pop its head out over here. I have a couple of concerns, but I definitely have some levels to the upside for some epic short opportunities if we continue the momentum here to the upside. And right, I know, you know, I'm talking about shorting opportunities, okay? In an uptrend, are you absolutely insane? You might be asking yourself. Well, I have some levels to the upside that I'm very interested in shorting because I know that nothing goes up in a straight line. At some point, the structure needs to start correcting itself. And based on the selling pressure and the volume that's kicking in here at the moment, it looks like the top could be close. Okay. Right, legends, so this is the 2-hour time frame. So zooming into this little structure, what I've done is I've just drawn a little bit of a bull flaggy, call it what you will, over here, and it looks like price is sticking out its neck and it's currently trading above. There is a little bit of a concern that I have with this wick here to the upside. This little wick, I don't like it, okay? It's just a game of probabilities. Sometimes the probabilities goes against me from a technical perspective. Right, and also guys, what I want to do is I want to pay attention to this little structure. We'll zoom into the smaller time frame and just look at this little structure. What is potentially forming over here? So from a larger time frame perspective, when I zoom out a little bit, okay, one could argue that, okay, we've had an impulse here to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a 3-wave corrective structure, so there's always a bullish and a bearish case scenario where you make a lower high and then, ladies and gentlemen, we start correcting here to the downside. Okay, so there is always a bearish and a bullish case scenario. There's one specific, the last line in the sand before we take the high, there's one specific level that I'm watching over here to see how price is going to react at that level. Okay, because this might look like a breakout at the moment, but I don't trust it just as yet. Right, for some reason I don't trust it, and I will share. Okay, guys, I can never be always right as a technical analyst, okay? I think for the last couple of days, maybe week or two, we've nailed a couple of trades here together successfully, okay? Some of you might have jumped into those trades with me where I've shared the trading opportunities that I've taken here on Bluffin, of which one yesterday played out to perfection. Right, so when I zoom into this little structure, just as a reminder, I'm not a type of YouTube influencer that likes to bring up previous live streams and say, this is what we spoke about, it played out, you know, I'm not here to prove anything. I'm here to discuss the technical analysis as I'm seeing it playing out at the moment. Okay, but right, yesterday we took this short. This little bad boy over here, I thought I got stopped out in the live stream. You all saw me. Oh God, I think I got stopped out. I didn't get stopped out, and then price fell here to the downside. I had my fib here from the low to the high, okay? And right here, and I had my TP1 set over here by the 0.382. I took a little bit of profits because, you know, that's what I do. I like to pay myself. My TP got hit over here. I left some of the position open for slightly lower levels. I went to bed, closed the position. Successful trade in the bag. Right, so whoever traded this with me yesterday live on the live stream, well, you should have made decent profits here to the downside, because this turned out to be a 3-wave corrective structure. You have a 5-wave impulsive structure, 3-wave corrective structure, and now we took the high again. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Right, legends, I'm currently in no trade at the moment. Okay, not in a trade at the moment. I just don't like, okay, this structure that is forming over here. Okay, something that I always pay attention to when you have an impulse, okay, from the low to the high. This little wick over here is very important in terms of when it finished. So when I take a time fib from the low to the high, you guys know I love me some time fibs. You can see that this low was made after the 0.382. Tick. So the momentum to the upside is supported. Tick. Okay, you guys see it, and you can go and measure this with any impulse. Okay, impulse corrective structure after the 0.382. Impulse corrective structure after the 0.382. Always after the 0.382. But it doesn't always happen, because sometimes the market is here to surprise you and it throws the technical analysis out the window. But now I have a little problem with this little structure. Okay, I could be wrong, legends. Maybe I'm counting it incorrectly, but this is now my concern. Price looks like it wants to break out. Okay, we're going to Mahala from here. We're going to $114,000. Yes, there's definitely a possibility, but I do have a trading plan upstairs. If for whatever reason the technical analysis invalidates itself over here and it doesn't play out the way that I want it to play out based on technical analysis, well, I can tell you now, I have a trading plan to the upside if it continues. My concern at the moment is, okay, you can potentially count this structure to the upside in a 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's a 5-wave structure. And then when you zoom into the 5 minute, okay, I need to really show you guys what I'm seeing over here. Okay, so this looks impulsive, right? This looks like a 3-wave corrective structure. Beautiful. That's what you want to see for continuation to the upside. So I am acknowledging, based on this 3-wave structure to the downside, there's a chance that we could explode, break out, and then, you know, you play the breakout, your stop goes below the low, and you are targeting higher levels, depending on where you plan to take profits. So I'm acknowledging that this trade can play out. For those of you that are playing the breakout over here, right, it's a trade. But there's something that I don't like from a technical perspective. If I take a time fib from the low to the high of the structure, look at where the low was made. That is my concern. So when you have an impulse and you have such a short corrective structure that did not finish after the minimum target, this is a minimum target, guys. This is not a maximum target or a preferred, it's a minimum target. Your preferred target is the 1-to-1 extension. So when I see an impulse and I see such a short correction, I can't help but wonder, what if this is, okay? What if the correction is not finished? What if this is, okay, there's a chance. What if this is impulsive, but you still need to form a corrective structure, a 3-wave corrective structure that finishes after the 0.382? Then you continue. If price did this and it's now breaking out over here, I would play the long. And this is why I'm currently in no trade. I don't trust the breakout, and I need to follow my rules from a technical perspective. I acknowledge that it can continue to the upside, but technically it doesn't make sense to me, and this is why I'm not in a trade. So I do have a trading plan to the upside in terms of where I'm going to look for shorting opportunities in case this whole thing turns against me and it proves me wrong that we have an impulse, a very short corrective structure that finished way before this minimum target. And if it does explode here to upside, I'm gonna, we're gonna take it step by step. I'm gonna take you guys through, well, what are the shorting areas that I'm looking at? Okay, because this little pump, you guys, you need to remember, when you have an impulse to the upside, it is very, extremely rare. It's like 1%. You have a 1% chance of this being the low after an impulse. But there's still a chance. Okay, the market is here to surprise us. It's just not often that I see this. And, I would have preferred this after the 0.382, like what happened in this structure. You have an impulse, you have a corrective structure that finished after the 0.382 right over there. Then I have to ask myself, well, what if, okay, I have to ask myself, maybe this is a 1 2 1 2 double 1 2 1 2 1 2, and now it's just going to rip you to the upside. It's the only way that makes sense, and this is why I'm giving this scenario the benefit of the doubt, is to say that, well, if this is a double 1 2 forming over here, it's the only way that it makes sense. But again, what I want to do is that, okay, if this is a 1 2 and this is a 1 2, now I need to measure from the start over here to the end over here. Okay, the low was still made before the 0.382. I don't like it, guys. I just don't like, what can I say? I don't like it. Right? So even if I take a time fib to say that, well, if this is a double 1 2 1 2 1 2, okay, which means that this corrective structure is for this impulse, not the entire structure, then you're still finished before the 0.382, which leads me to believe, okay, from a simplicity perspective, okay, if I go to the, was it the 1 hour time frame? Let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Guys, this is just how I do technical analysis. Usually, okay, so now I'm trying to keep it simple. I'm just trying to keep it simple. Usually when I play breakouts, using my breakout strategy rules, when I see a wick with high volume and the body of the candle closed below the trend, any move that goes outside of the trend is usually a fake out. It's a game of probabilities. So in more than, it has a higher probability that this pump here to the upside is a fake out because of the high volume node that left a wick behind and the body closed below. If the body closed above the trend, even ever so slightly, if the body closed over there, just slightly above the trend, I would have sang a completely different song. Okay, so which brings me to my first shorting opportunity that I'm looking at. And I'm going to explain now from a structural perspective why that could potentially make sense. So keeping it simple over here, I take a fib from the high to the low. Right? We have not tapped the 786 just as yet. Also, when I switch on my point of controls, we have a naked point of control ever so slightly a little bit higher up. I know that on Binance, on Bybit, this point of control is a little bit lower. I know that, I acknowledge it, but I need to trade the chart in front of me. So when I take a fixed range volume profile for this little consolidation, okay, you can see that my point of control is ever so slightly a little bit higher. That is the highest volume node on Binance. So I'm going to leave it there. So legends, in saying that, if price continues here to the upside, let's say it continues here to the upside, okay, I'm looking for a short. I do not like this technically, and I acknowledge the fact that I could be wrong. I do acknowledge the fact that I could be wrong, but I need to follow my rules. Even if I'm wrong, I need to stick to my rules because that is what keeps me successful as a day trader. Okay, if I have seen this many, many times where you leave a wick behind and the body's closed back below the trend, which which very often signifies that you are going to come and take this low. That's usually what it signifies. If you see this, what I'm seeing right here, usually you increase the probabilities that you're going to come and take this low. I stay out of the trade. If price continues to the upside, well then I've got my shorting opportunity. Before we take the high, okay, I'm still looking for a short in this zone, depending on how price is going to react at this level. Okay, the market is here to surprise us. It is currently trading above the trend. I don't like the high volume node and the wick that is left behind on the 1 hour time frame. I don't like it. Okay, I need to follow my rules. Okay, now I have to play out the insane bullish case scenario, because some of you might be in longs and you're like, Dewald, no, you know, please don't close your position. If you've planned your trade and you are in a long position, maybe your position is even protected, don't let me scare you out of your trade. Okay, I'm just following my rules. I could be wrong. Okay, because there is an insane bullish case scenario. Right? The insane bullish case scenario, and I'm just going to keep it very conservative over here, is you take a trend-based fib, okay, just to show everyone from the high, you click, that's your first click, your second click is at the low, and you reverse it, you swing it back to the upside. So there's an important box that I am watching to the upside, which is that box over here. Is you say that, well, maybe this is impulsive. This is now forming the last leg to the upside. This was an ABC corrective structure. Done. 3-wave corrective structure after the impulse here to the upside. And now we're going to make the last impulse here to the upside. Claim the high here at around about $114,000. And then, okay, this is where I am also looking for short. So I have trading plans to the upside, depending on how price reacts in this zone. And if it smashes out, yeah, I don't get the reaction, maybe I can jump into a trade. Even if I'm wrong, I can still have a protected position. Like I explained yesterday in my live stream, I will be looking for shorts at one of these levels. Hopefully I'm not sleeping, because it seems that all the best trades are playing out while I'm bloody sleeping. Okay. So, legends, it's about, you know, technical analysis for me is about not always about are you right or are you wrong. It's about having a plan to the upside and to the downside. And depending on where price goes, I activate my plan. Okay, so I have a shorting plan over here. I have a shorting plan over here. And now I want to share with you, well, maybe there's a chance that we could still fall down, make a higher low, and continue back to the upside. I also have a longing plan down here. Longing plan, okay, I need to take you guys through the smaller time frame structure in terms of what I'm seeing. Let me just take that brush out. Let me clean up the chart over here. Go back onto the 5-minute time frame. So, let's say this is an impulse, okay? Now I have to play out this scenario. I told everyone why I don't like this low, okay? Let's say this is an impulse in a 5-wave structure. And this is going to form a larger 3-wave corrective structure. Remember, you can have an A, you can have a B flat that takes the high, and maybe it rejects there by that 786 level, naked point of control that I've highlighted. Okay, maybe it does reject here, but then you form an A, B, C after the impulse to the upside. A, B, C, and then you can continue. I need the B to be in. I need price to fall down. And then I'll be able to take a fib from the high to the low to the high, 1.618, 1.236. Okay, from a simplicity perspective, you're basically looking to claim these lows. Let's say this plays out. You're basically looking at claiming this low, right? And getting acceptance back above. That is where I'm planning to long. Now that is a way better long for me, because then when I take the time fib from the low to the high, you will see that that low will be made after my minimum requirement. Right. That's my trading plan. Legends, remember to smash up that like button. Okay, let's go through some comments. Let me say hi to the community. You put too much sauce on the table for free. Yes, I know. I just can't help myself, right? You know, sometimes I tell myself, no, I'm not going to do any education. Today's live stream, I'm not going to do any education. And then what happens? I just verbal diarrhea. I shower people with education. Right. One day I'm going to donate you 500 to 1K on the stream for what you are sharing. I just want to pay you back in any way possible. Stefan1, thank you so much. It's really appreciated. And I'm glad that you're taking whatever I'm teaching you on the channel to heart and making it part of your trading strategy. Really, much love, brother. Much love. I appreciate it. Hello, welcome to the live stream. Just joined the Legends Pro community. Conmel, welcome, welcome. Yes, I wasn't as active as I've wanted to be today in the Legends Pro community. I want to share with you guys some sneak peeks in terms of what I'm busy with. I am busy with a lot of stuff in the background. I just don't have it available at the moment. I closed all the tabs. Right. Okay. Let's go. Jency, good morning, welcome. Smash that like button, guys. Thank you so much. Hi, Dewald. Today I joined your Legends Pro community on Discord. I have not a pro account yet, but after my motorbike tour, I will subscribe for sure. Absolute pleasure, man. Can't wait to see you. Right. Another live show. Goodness, so generous, Dewald. Thank you so much for the stellar free education. Absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much. I really like it when people say, you know, your education, we love the education, because, you know, that's something that I'm really passionate about. Okay. Bitcoin in a convenient range. Long, then short, then long, short, repeat. Yes. And that's what we do as day traders. Okay. Yesterday we shorted. Together, yeah, on the live stream, I had a short right over there. I think I took profits. I took some more profits when we hit the 0.382. Some of you, maybe you left a moon bag open, and I mean, we went quite deep. So a very successful trade here to the downside that we all played together. Right, absolute legends over here. Hi mate Simon, welcome to the live stream. Good morning. Hi Dewald, Jack, legends, welcome. Hi team, great to see you again. Yo bro, Irina, always great to see you. Yeah, the mod Mr. Crypto Big Brains in the house. Welcome, welcome. Theta, why didn't you touch? Okay, so Anish, I know that you have been asking me about Theta. While Bitcoin is pumping here to the upside, on low volume, I might add. Okay, let's see if the scenario is going to play out. I'm going to spend 30 seconds on Theta, because I know, Anish, you have been asking me many times, also with comments after the live stream, have we tapped the 0.618 and has the fourth wave been invalidated? No, it has not been invalidated. Okay, so just quickly, just to show you the structure, I've measured it out. Just wait for it to load up. There we go. So if you're counting this as a 1, 2, 3, your question is, have we tapped the 0.618? Let me just take this flip out the way. So yes, it looks like we did tap it on the regular scale. Okay, and this is sometimes where the alts and even Bitcoin will play tricks on people. It looks like it invalidated. If this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now looks like the fourth wave is being invalidated, and we're not going to get a fifth wave to the upside. But where it becomes interesting, if I go to the log scale, take the scribble out the way, okay, just, you know, you have to take your fib from number 2 to number 3. It's as easy as that. We have not tapped the 0.618. Fourth wave has not been invalidated. This is still valid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could still have another high. Claim the highs over here. So, no, it has not been tapped. Right, so I hope I've answered your question, Anish. I hope I've answered your question. Let's get back here onto the price of Bitcoin. So currently, price is pumping here to the upside. Like I said, guys, I can be completely wrong with the technical analysis, but I need to stick to my technical analysis. I need to stick to my rules, because if my rules are right 9 out of 10 times, okay, I cannot now, because the 1 out of 10 time my rule got invalidated, just change my rules. No, it doesn't work like that. I'd rather stay out of the trade. My rule is I stay out of the trade. That's my rule. If it doesn't make sense, you didn't make the low after the 0.382, I stay out of the trade. It's as easy as that for me. Okay, so, you know, price might pump here aggressively to the upside, and then people are going to say, Dewald, you didn't take the... I don't care, because I know that there's another trade around the corner. I know there's a trade around the corner. A little bit further up, we have that $114,000 area. There's a shorting opportunity. Here's a shorting opportunity. there's a longing opportunity. There's always another trade around the corner. If this trade doesn't follow my rules, I stay out of it, because my biggest job as a trader is to protect my cash. If it doesn't make sense, I don't take the trade. As simple as that. Right. I want to see what CVD is doing. It's actually still showing strength. Surprisingly, CVD is actually showing strength. Okay, so if you are in a long, and I look at CVD over here, I mean, look at this. Look at where this high is. This high, okay, on yellow, on white, on blue, and price is still, I mean, if CVD was here already, and I spotted some bearish CVD as price is pumping here to the upside, I would have been like, guys, be very, 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 very careful. But it's still showing strength at the moment, even between this pivot. Okay, let me zoom in ever so slightly. So here's our impulse on the 5-minute time frame. So I am acknowledging that there is a sign of strength. You have bullish CVD against those two pivots and bullish CVD. Bullish CVD, okay, not on yellow. You have a double confirmation on blue and white. The target is the high. So once your bullish CVD has played out and you took the high, you could still reject, and then your bullish CVD played out, because the bullish CVD, that's your target. Can it go higher? Of course, but that's your target for the bullish CVD. So if you got into this low, that becomes a profit taking area. Definitely a profit taking area. Okay, right, legends. I need to discuss this with you guys. The links for the exchanges that I use to do all of my trading down in the description. Bluffin, okay, has an amazing deal at the moment where you get 15% of your cash back with the money that you deposit in your features account. Also, the more you trade, the more money gets airdropped into your account. Link down in the description. Here you go, Bluffin over here. And you only need an email and a password, and you can start leverage trading. Okay, Weeks also still the 20% cash back. Weeks is still the 20% cash back. First 100 users, right, get additional extra $100 for free. If you bind your phone and your email, you could qualify for $10 to $100. It's like a lucky draw depending on what you qualify for. You also get 20% discount on the money that you deposit in your features account. If you trade, more money gets edged. I mean, they're just pulling out all the stops over here. Okay, links down in the description. Also your way to support the channel, but it's also where you get the best deals and benefits that these exchanges has to offer. Only with the links down in the description. Right, now I have discussed the bullish case scenario. Mr. Dewald, how do I copy your CVD? Can you share? Bitcoin Crush, you can join. Okay, you can join our Legends Pro community. You don't even have to pay to join the paid community. You can join the free community. Inside of the chat section, you can ask for the CVD script, and one of the moderators will share it with you freely. Okay, whoever wants the CVD. It's the only indicator that I use. Okay, it's the only indicator. You guys will not see any other indicators on my chart, right? I do have the RSIs. I sometimes look at it, but it's not part of my trading strategy. It is part of my investment strategy. That's a different game altogether. On the larger time frames, I look at the weekly, the monthly, the daily. That's it. When I start investing and buying spot positions, that's the only time I use the RSIs, but I don't use it as part of my trading strategy. I've backtested it and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, the accuracy is dismal because it's a lagging indicator. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not a lagging indicator. CVD is a real-time live indicator showing you what retail is doing and what market makers are doing. Right, alert, bearish RSI divergence on the hourly. Bearish divergence, I mean, we were just talking about, right, let's see, bearish divergence on the 1 hourly. Let's look at this quickly. I don't see it just as yet, unless you're looking at a different high. Okay, yes, one could argue, okay, you have a high over here, you have a higher high, but you have a lower low. Oh, yeah, actually, no, it just doesn't. I think it's most probably the 4-hour time frame. Let's look at the 4 hour. Guys, I don't use this as part of my trading strategy. It's interesting to look at, but I mean, here you can see that you have a high and you have a higher high, but RSIs are making lower highs. So one could argue that that is a classic bearish divergence. Okay, but then, I mean, price is still looks like it wants to continue here to the upside. Maybe we take the high once again. So for me, it's not something that I can use from a day trading perspective, because sometimes you get bearish hidden divergence on the weekly time frame, the daily time frame. It takes weeks to play out, sometimes even months, and then eventually price turns around and you're like, yeah, I told you there was a hidden bullish divergence or bearish divergence. So what, did you wait 3 or 5 weeks before you took a trade, right? No, I just don't like it. Okay, that's why I don't use RSIs as part of my trading strategy. It doesn't work for me. I'm not saying it's BS. All I'm saying is it doesn't work for me from a day trading perspective. Yesterday, we took this trade together successfully as a community. Okay, if you did jump into the trade, we shorted right over here. Bam. Okay, that's where we shorted. Failing to claim the highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That to me was a nice little shorting opportunity, taking profits to the downside. I don't need indicators to tell me that I can short. Yeah, I look at price action. The best thing that you can teach yourself is to trade price action. If you can learn how to trade price action successfully, you don't need any indicators. If you do introduce an indicator as part of your trading strategy, you need to backtest it. Does this indicator make my trading better or worse? So for me, I backtested the CVD and it actually improved my win rate. Okay, it's not accurate, it's 74% accurate, but if it has a positive contribution towards my trading strategy, then I will start using it. If I backtest an indicator, okay, it's at the low, I need to long. Oh, it's at the high, I need to short. You know, however you use the RSIs, and it actually negatively impacts my trading scenarios. I just, you know, then I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to use it. You have to backtest the indicator, and I can tell you now, it's not an indicator that's going to make you a profitable trader. It's learning to trade the price action. That's what's going to make you profitable. The indicator is just there for, okay, well, I was planning to long over here. What does CVD say? It's an additional layer of confluence. It should not be the layer of confluence. Okay, what did CVD do over here? Very interesting to know. What did CVD do over here? Well, let's see. Let's look at the structure. So there was the low. Oops, let me grab my pen. So there's the low, right? What did CVD do? There was no bullish CVD on blue, but there was bullish CVD on yellow and there was bullish CVD on white, which told me, okay, if I was planning to enter this trade regardless of this indicator, now I have another 2 confirmations. 1, 2 confirmations that there's bullish CVD, the target is the high. So that adds to my confluence and my tick box exercise. The more ticks I have, the more cash I can deploy. So instead of deploying 0.5% or 1% of my capital, maybe I can now deploy 2% of my capital, because my technical analysis based on price action is telling me we're going to get a bounce. And now I look at CVD. Okay, it's also confirming I'm going to get a bounce. So I can add a little bit more risk to my trade. Stop goes below the low. You target the highs. Okay. Right. You see, guys, can't help myself. Always here with education. Always here with education. Yes, remember to smash up that like button. Dewald, what is the maximum time frame to look at CVD? I very, very seldom go over the 1 hour time frame. 15-minute is my preferred higher time frame, but I'm always dancing around the 5-minute, 3-minute, because I'm always looking for local signs of strength and weakness, because, you know, I'm nailing the entries over here. So maybe I'm nailing this entry on this entry. So here you can see I'm on the 5-minute time frame, but 5-minute I would say is my favorite. I spend the most time on the 5-minute time frame. CVD, there's a trick to CVD. The higher the time frame, the more inaccurate it becomes. The lower the time frame, the more accurate it becomes. So you don't really want to go past the 1 hour. That's the maximum I would recommend for CVD. Okay, a Dewald left the stream after teaching us everything on daily basis, and I can tell you, sir, how much you changed my mind about trading and become more profitable. Thank you, Dewald. Mr. Stefan, one absolute pleasure, man. I appreciate all the kind words and the love that you are sharing over here. So much love to you and your family. Really appreciate it. Okay, so legends, there's the chance. Okay, we have. Let me double check. Let's go here together. Okay, let's go together here on the daily time frame. I don't know if I actually did this morning because I was busy with so many other things this morning. I haven't had really time to trade today. So I want to make sure that I have my daily levels, okay, all still marked out and they are still valid. Yes, I have a daily level over there. I open and close at the same level. It has not been tapped by any price action. Above, we still have a daily level, $111,662. We still have a valid daily level. Remember, these levels to the upside becomes resistance, potential shorting opportunities, and the levels to the downside are support areas where I'm looking for long opportunities. Then we have this naked point of control, which I've just highlighted. It's that little mini range that we formed there to the top together with a 786. So valid. Okay, so daily levels are valid. I don't see any, can't use this one, has been tapped with price action. I think what I have not done is looked at yesterday's candle for a point of control, but it looks like it's already been tapped. So let's see. Yeah, point of control has already been tapped. So basically, these are all the levels that we have. Just want to make sure weekly. I think I did go through my weekly levels on Monday. I always go through my weekly levels on Monday. We do have a weekly naked point of control inside of the previous week. So if you take your fixed range profile, you can see there where the red line is where my weekly naked point of control is. Okay, so we do have some strong area of support to the downside if we do decide to reverse. Okay, definitely interesting longing opportunities. Oh, and actually this is where we got the bounce. Actually, today, that's where we got the bounce today. So I missed it. Right, that's exactly where we got the bounce. The pump, bounce on the weekly point of control. You guys can see how powerful these levels are. Look at this. Beautiful bounce, right? Swing failure pattern. Stop goes below the low. Price moves in your favor. You protect your position. Take profits to the upside. Leave a moon bag open. You know, that's how we trade. Okay, so those are the levels, legends. The two most important levels to the upside inside here is a naked point of control and a daily level. Depending on the reaction that I get over here, I will attempt a short. No reaction, no short. Okay. And then to the upside, something that I'm still keeping an eye on is the, where's my box? Did I delete the box? Here we go. Right. If we are still going to make one more high, if we're still going to make one more high, this is definitely a zone that I will be paying attention to. 1.236, 1.382. I don't know if we're going to get to the 1.618, but you all know how magical this number can be. Okay, so I have my trading plan. And to the downside, if we fall down and we take this low and we get acceptance back above, there's my trading plan. Right, a little bit further to the downside, we also still have a naked point of control, which is basically a swing failure from this little pivot. So I have my plans to the downside, I have my plans to the upside. I don't care which direction price is going to go. I'm looking for shorting opportunities and I'm looking for longing opportunities. Right. And I know I make it sound easy because I also take the structure and price action into account. Because often what happens is I do a live stream and I will tell everyone, okay, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at that. Then something happens, something changes. I get more information because candles is data. It gives me more information about the structure. And then I will highlight a different trading scenario to the Legends Pro community. Okay, so yeah, they obviously, you know, they get the updates first. They get the alpha first. Right, let me just clean up the chart over here and take the levels out the way. Right, legends, unfortunately, okay, There are so many ways in which we can count the structure that is busy forming over here. You could have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse ended over here. So if you have a 5-wave structure to the downside, that gives you a A wave. Okay, so maybe this is still corrective. And then you have this wave here to the upside. That could be a B. And this could be a C. Okay, so if this is an A, B, and a C, it means that that low needs to be protected. And whatever is forming here needs to go up to go to $114,000. Now the question is this impulsive or is this still corrective? If the impulse or if the corrective structure ended over here, you have your impulse that ended over here, you have a 3-wave corrective structure, and now you could potentially continue momentum here back to the upside. So if I zoom into this little structure, then, well, we can see, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3-wave structure to the downside formed a higher low, respected the trend, okay, the 2-hour trend here to the upside. But now this, what on earth is this? So if this is going to form a 112, that's kind of the only scenario that's on the table at the moment. It's the only bullish case scenario on the table is a 112. Okay, because if this was a 1, 2, 3, it needs to go, and it's not going, it's consolidating. Okay, third waves are the most explosive, has the most amount of volume in them, and they go. They don't do this. What is this? Right, so the only scenario still on the table is a 1, 2, 1. I would like to see another low. Okay, so maybe this is the low, 1, 2, 1, 2, and now we're going to go. Right, $114,000 area, more or less the zone to the upside that I've identified. Ideally, if I could have my way, because when you take a time flip from the low to the high, is a very, very shallow retracement. Maybe this is still a 1, 2, this is still a 1 and a 2. Then you go up, but you have a larger corrective structure. This is why I'm still looking for longs, because you know I'm still playing the bullish case scenario. I'm looking for longs. Okay, but this doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. 1, 2, 1, 2. Boy, oh boy, that could get explosive, where your corrective structure has ended over here. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then off through the races you go. Right. Unfortunately, the structure, like I said, can be counted in many ways. There's also a count where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, impulse ended over here. I don't want to bore everyone with the structures, but I thought, I will leave it a little bit later in the live stream for those of you that are interested in Elliott wave theory. And now this is your 3-wave structure. Okay, because an A wave can be a 5-wave structure. This was a 3-wave B, and now this is a C to the upside. Well, if you have a 1, because that's a 5, and you have a 3-wave corrective structure, guess what? The only way is down aggressively to even come and eat up all of these lows. There's a chance that we could break down, make a lower high, and break down. Okay, I do have a small little concern. There's a little bit of a concern over here. Okay, I would like this high to be taken again before I will speculate on this being a 1, a 2, and a 3, 4, 5 to the downside. This high would needs to be claimed again. Okay, why do I want this high to be claimed again? Because if this is the end of your corrective structure that ended over here, you need to start building impulses to the downside. And when I go onto the 5-minute time frame and I look at the structure here to the downside, it's a 3-wave structure. 1, 2, 3. So you can't form impulses to the downside on a 3-wave structure. So you have to take the high again. Once you've taken the high and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you make a 3-wave. Then I'm going to say, okay, now that looks interesting. But this tells me that you're either going to continue the correction sideways, but I will only be interested in aggressive shorts to the downside if this was a 5-wave structure, which is not. Okay, I'm not sure. I think maybe Andy would have spoken about this as well, because I know Andy is also very clued up with 3-wave structures, 5-wave structures. But guys, look at this. 1, 2, 3. You ended on a high amount of volume. I was hoping for a 4 and a 5. If I saw this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, that retracement would have been my entry for an epic short to the downside. But we didn't get this. We made a 3-wave structure. And this is why I want the high to be claimed again before I will consider a short. Okay, so the structure, so what I'm trying to say over here is, legends, I've got my levels to the upside, I've got my levels to the downside, but I'm also keeping an eye on the structure. Okay, sometimes I have levels here where I'm planning shorts, and sometimes I have levels here where I'm planning longs. And then sometimes what then happens is we form a 5-wave structure here to the downside. And then I enter a short over here that misses my trading plan. But based on the structure that I'm seeing, I know that I have a high probable trade. And now this 3-wave structure to the downside tells me that you cannot make a lower high. Okay, there's a high chance you're going to make a lower high and just fall aggressively to the downside. Because it's not a 5-wave structure. You need to form a motive wave to the downside. To send price in that direction, you need to form a motive wave. A motive wave is a 5-wave structure. So you can take the low again, but I'm not expecting $105 or $97,000 from here. Okay, it's fine if you continue the correction sideways based on this, but until such time that I see a 5-wave structure to the downside, I'm going to be aggressive with shorting opportunity, with profit taking areas if I do jump into a short over here, for example, which I'm not taking at the moment. You all know my probabilities. I'm not taking a trade here at the moment. I don't like it. Okay, and the reason I'm staying out of a trade right now, technically it doesn't make sense. Okay, from the low to the high, you have finished the low before my minimum target. This is why I wasn't interested in the long. Now you have a 3-wave structure to the downside, so I'm also not interested in the short. That's my reasons for not trading at the moment. I have to just follow my rules. Okay, and that's why I now have my levels to the upside and I have my levels to the downside. So I am waiting for price to come to my area of interest. I am not willing to trade to my area of interest. I'm waiting for price. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm waiting for price to come to my area of interest so that I can make a trading decision. I'm not going to trade to my area of interest because technically I'm not seeing what I like at the moment. So there's no trade for me at the moment. Yesterday, this was a beautiful trade. It just made so much sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You swing failure from the highs. We jumped into some days you just like, oh, the planets align. It makes sense. Beautiful shorting opportunity, beautiful longing opportunity. Also look at this 3-wave structure. Beautiful 3-wave structure that ended on a high amount of volume. I mean, that is beautiful. If I was awake, this was 3:30 in the morning. Okay, so I wasn't awake during this, but if I was awake, I would have longed the crap out of this level. Okay, basically found support inside of this consolidation area. This structure does not make sense to me just as yet. So, you all know that saying sometimes in trading where they say you just have to be patient. Well, this is where I'm patient. I'm out of the market at the moment. I'm waiting for price to give me direction. And at the moment, the structure is too confusing for me to jump into a trade. Okay, if you are in a trade and the structure makes sense to you, by all means, okay, you do you at the end of the day. I'm not saying that you are wrong. I'm just saying that this price action forming here at the moment does not comply with my trading rules. And that's why I'm not in a trade. Okay, you might have a different trading strategy using different indicators and you just like, Dewald, it makes perfect sense for me. Well done. It doesn't make sense for me. And that's why we all have different trading strategies and a different way at looking at the charts. Okay, what else? I am hoping it's falling hard now. I'm hoping it's falling hard. Well, I would also like some lower prices on Bitcoin. Make no mistake, okay? But, you know, guys, something that I'm still pondering about over here, okay? When I look at ETH, you know, guys, I'm not specifically discussing altcoins. I'm just trying to compare it to what Bitcoin's next move might be, okay? When I look at ETH here, for example, okay, I can see a 1, 2, 1, 2. You have a massive impulsive wave to the upside, and now you have your 3, 4, 5, 4. That doesn't make sense for another. This looks more like an A, B, C in a running flat, and you need to take that high again. Okay, I told everyone I'm still expecting at least one more high on ETH based on this structure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, guys, let me not confuse you. Okay, let me not confuse you. Let me switch on the scenarios. Do I have it? Do I have it? Yes, I have it. Yeah. Right. This is, there should be another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is still the scenario. I just need to update it ever so slightly. I need to move it. This is still a scenario that I'm keeping an eye on ETH. Okay. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe the 4 ended over there. Because remember, the end of the corrective structure doesn't necessarily have to make another low. Okay, but based on the structure that I'm seeing here on ETH, if it's going to just fall aggressively to the downside, it doesn't make sense. For me, ETH still needs one more high. Okay, I do see dominance, you know, is giving a little bit of love to the altcoins here at the moment. But what I would like to see is for, let's say, price continues here to the upside. It takes the high properly this time, not that. That's a corrective structure, A, B, C. So that's why I'm putting my 4 over there. That's your 3-wave corrective structure. If ETH can take the high one more time, just at least one more time, then you have a completed 5-wave structure to the upside. You could then form a 3-wave structure back to the downside, golden pocket, okay, and that becomes a load up zone. I will have my trend ready. I will either play the break of trend. But this, ladies and gentlemen, if we get $1,900, $2,000, okay, if price comes back after it's made another high, if price comes back to $2,000, right, to this zone over here, $2,000 zone, this is where I plan to open up a swing position. Not now. It's not time yet. I've been very patient with these trades. Okay, because now this could be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go and complete your final wave inside of your 5th wave. You have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. This is what I like to see. Still sticking to the guns, guys. Still sticking to the guns. Also on Theta, I'm still looking at one more high. I don't know, because at the moment it's an ABC. A, B, C. So if Theta starts falling down, then it's most likely going to come and take this low again. Theta needs one more high to create a bullish motive wave to the upside. It needs 1, 2, 3, 4. The low needs to be in. Almost tapped the 0.618. Not just yet. It needs to rock and roll here to the upside. Doge. Let's see what Doge is doing. 1 hour time frame. By the way, this was a trade that was highlighted inside of our Legends Pro community. That level to the T was highlighted to our Legends Pro community. To the dollar. Right? If you did not get in over here, the breakout trade was also highlighted. I spoke about it yesterday in the live stream. And now, okay, it's forming, you know, it looks like it's respecting the trend. The momentum is going up here again. So obviously Bitcoin just needs to play ball. But when I zoom out, Doge actually looks incredible. It looks like it really wants to rock and roll. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. It looks like it. Anyways, let's just, you know, I'm trying to keep it conservative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It also needs one more high. So when I look at all the altcoins that potentially still needs one more high, and it looks like ETH is the one that's taking the lead here at the moment. Okay. This is where we could potentially get a deeper correction. Right? And we need to be prepared. Once ETH makes one more high over here, And if it comes back below these highs, let's say it pumps here, it's breaking out, they're longing like crazy maniacs, ETH is going to the moon, and it starts falling down and it starts trading below these highs. It starts trading below the highs. That is a sign of weakness, and you could be in for a larger corrective structure. I will take my time FIB from the low to the high of the structure, and I will know exactly when this correction needs to come at an end. But we will analyze that. Okay, we will analyze that together here on the live stream. Right, and you can see now, I mean, Bitcoin is consolidating, dominance is dropping, ETH is pumping. Okay, so it doesn't mean that Bitcoin has to go higher for the altcoins to catch up. All that Bitcoin needs to do is go sideways. You could have a massive alt run, okay, alt rally. You can have ETH go up here and claim the highs and go to $3,000 easily, and Bitcoin is just purring here to the side, okay, it's just going sideways. Right, you don't need Bitcoin to go up for ETH to catch up. You just need Bitcoin to go sideways, and you need dominance to drop like it's doing right now. You can see ETH is pumping. Okay, it's not just about what I'm saying, guys. I'm showing you ETH is pumping, Bitcoin is going sideways, and dominance is dropping. So you're getting love, you're getting money flowing back into the alt ecosystem. Okay, so maybe this little consolidation that we're seeing here on the price of Bitcoin is going to give some love to the altcoins to go and make that damn one more high that I've been waiting for from a structural perspective. Okay, because I want to jump in, guys. I want to jump into those swing positions. And I will tell everyone, but it's not time. I cannot, for the love of me, guys, from a risk management perspective, okay, I do have spot bags from lower down. I do have spot bags, okay? I'm happy with my spot entries. And if we do get a deeper correction here to the downside, I might even add a little bit more to my spot bags. But from a swing trading perspective, you have to be patient. Remember, this is the 4-hour time frame, okay? You have, what, four candles in a day, okay? Sorry guys, my math is not, but you get what I'm saying. You get a couple of candles a day on the 4-hour time frame. So for price to come and reach this level over here, you're looking at, you know, almost the end of June for this correction to end. So you have to be very patient. Once I open up a swing trade over here, okay, my stop goes below the low. I mean, that's a big, guys, that's a big gap from a stop loss perspective, but it's a swing trade, low leverage, most probably 2x, 3x maximum, okay? I'm going to wait months for this trade to play out. Months. It's not a day trade. But I know that I have to be very, very patient. If price continues to pump over here, no swing trade for me. Then it's just day trading. It's just day trades. Okay. Right. Let's go through some more comments. Elizabeth, welcome to the live stream. Dewald, you expect ETH to go next to $3,000. Okay, well, let's work out a target quickly over here. Okay, I mean, it can punch higher. I'm just trying to be conservative. I'm really just trying to be conservative. Let's say the structure is going to play out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I can measure this target for a fifth wave. I can measure it, and there's a couple of ways to measure a fifth wave target, and this is why people hate Elliott wave theory. They're just like, well, which target is going to hit? But I can spot the reaction at those levels. Okay, the most bullish case, the most bullish target is you take a trend-based fib from the low of the structure to the high of 3 to the low of ABC, to the low of the fourth wave, and ETH could go up as high as $3,300. The 0.618 measuring the fifth wave from the low to the high to the low, okay, that is a bullish target, maximum bullish target, $3,300. So it could even go and hit this fifth wave, can go there, no problemo. Then there's a little bit of a more conservative target which plays out more often. Okay, this is a little bit more rare, but it does play out. This is a little bit more rare, a little bit more bullish. I do see that the altcoins specifically like the 0.618 target because altcoins usually explode a little bit harder for some reason. Okay, but the conservative target is you take your trend-based fib from the high to the low, you drag it across, you reverse it to the upside. Okay, and between, there's your fifth wave target zone. Okay, let me put a box in there so everyone can see. 1.618 to the 0.236. Okay, let me try again, legends. I'm tripping over my words. 1.236, 1.382, 1.618. This is the most common fifth wave zone that I usually see play out, especially on Bitcoin and Ethereum. The other altcoins, we're not going to talk about them because they do punch a little bit higher. Okay, they do, they do like these levels a little bit higher. Okay, so this is my conservative target. But basically what you're looking for is you're looking for a final stretch to the upside. And when price closes back below this, when it starts trading below the highs, that is a sign of weakness, and you could be in for a larger three-wave corrective structure. It could either be deep and scary, can really be deep and scary without claiming the low, or it could be sideways. WX, Ys, ABCs, it just goes sideways, a sideways corrective structure. Everyone waiting for these levels are forced to buy in at higher levels. Okay, but it's going to be timing that's going to be the most important for me. Right, so it's either maximum target here, 2,900, 2,847, 2,800. Okay, this is the conservative target. Most bullish case scenario, $3,300. Okay. So yes, Elizabeth, I hope I've answered your questions. MK Alexander, welcome. Morning, legends. Dewald is the type of guy to buy water in the store and set it free in the ocean. Dewald is the type of guy to buy water in the store and set it free in the ocean. I don't think you'd be wrong. I don't think you'd be wrong, right? Dewald still it touched the 0.61 in my log scale. Maybe your TradingView subscription shows accurate price. It depends on the trading pair. Okay, Theta, Binance. I use Binance because Binance has the highest amount of volume in the world. This is why I trade or do my analysis on Binance, because the technicals are more accurate. It doesn't matter about the subscription. Whether you have the free, whether you have the paid, whether you have the ultimate package here on TradingView, if you trade the Binance token over here, the Theta Binance USDT, you will have the exact same levels as me. Okay. Right. Remember, legends, also your way to support the channels, the links for the exchanges that I use, always down in the description, where you qualify for the biggest bonuses and biggest sign-up fees. I'm really burning to get into a trade here on Bluffin, guys, but it's just, like I've said, the price is just not showing me what I want to see. So most bullish case scenario, okay, is this is an impulse. This is still part of a corrective structure. This, if we move down here, remember, this little retracement does not have to take the low. It could be a running flat. A running flat is, or a normal zigzag. A normal zigzag. Running flat would be actually your B wave takes the high. So if your B wave takes the high, it rejects, it comes back down. The most common scenario is that your C wave also takes the low. So your B wave sweeps the liquidity, your C wave sweeps the liquidity, you have a flat, which is most common, and then you have continuation to the upside. A little bit less common is a running flat. A running flat means that your B wave takes the high, but you have a C wave that does not take the low. That's what we refer to as a running flat. A, B, C. More rare, not as common as the flat that takes the low and the high. Okay, and then you continue to the upside. And then you have a normal zigzag. A, B, C. Okay, your B wave does not take the high, your C wave does not take the low, but you form your three-wave corrective structure, and then off to the races you go. So you guys can see it's a three-wave corrective structure. You just don't know which one you're going to get, right? The best ones to trade is the swing failure from the low. That's the best one to trade. Also, when you're trading a B wave, okay, and you're looking for a rejection, if you know this is a B wave, you're looking for a swing failure from the high. The B breaks out, starts trading below. That's a sign of weakness. Now you know, okay, it could be in a C wave. So this automatically becomes a profit-taking area, but also a longing area. Okay, but something that I have to point out here on the larger time frame. Let's go here on to the 1 hour. Okay, let's throw Elliott wave theory out the window. Okay, let's just look at it from a simplicity perspective. Like I said, guys, I could be completely wrong, but I have to just say it. Based on my experience, most of the times when you close a wick below the trend, the body, you close the body and you leave a wick behind below the trend, whatever happens here above the trend, I'm not interested. Not interested. Because from a breakout perspective, when I see this high volume, you leave a wick behind, the body closed below the trend, it increases the probabilities that you could come and claim this low. So without looking at Elliott wave theory, usually when I see this, I often see price either do this and it takes the damn low. I very, very often see this, okay? I don't like that wick that was left behind on high volume. That's not a sign of strength for me, okay? Like I said, guys, the technicals could be wrong. I need to wait for price to show me the way. Right, shouldn't we have a 335 in a flat? Dimitri, shouldn't we have a 335 in a flat? A 335? Yeah, you can have a 335. You can also have a 535. Okay, you can have an A wave and a 5 wave structure. You can have a B wave. Okay, remember B wave is always a 3. Okay, so B wave is, you can't have a 555. You can only have a 535 or a 333. You can have a 353. Anyways, guys, I don't want to bore you with Elliott wave theory, but basically, okay, this could be a 3-wave structure. You know, this is now, you know, and Dimitri, this is now the conundrum. Is this a 3-wave structure in an A? Or is this a 5-wave structure? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it counts as a 5-wave structure and it counts as a 3-wave structure in an A. Now you could have a 3-wave structure in a B and you go down in a C. Not easy. Usually 5-wave structures can be counted as 3-wave structures as well. That's the problem. That's the problem. So it's never easy. Okay, it's never easy. Right, legends, remember to smash up that like button. I have unfortunately run out of time for today, and I will see you all in the next one. Remember, the links for the exchanges that I use down in the description, cost you nothing extra. Also, if you would like to come and join our Legends Pro community, link here down in the description. I've unfortunately run out of time. Have yourselves an amazing evening, and until the next one, cheers for now.